Hello and welcome. You're here on Business Today Television. I'm Aabha Bakaya and with me Shailendra Bhatnagar, tracking all the market action for you as we count down to opening today. Steady close yesterday. Overnight action is intact as well, apart from all that's happening on the AI front. But Shell, what is the setup looking like in pre-open this morning?
A very good morning to you, Aabha. Both of us are bright and shining in the respective colors that we are wearing. And the entire rainbow of strength is visible on Dalal Street. A gap up because of the strong exit poll that came for Bihar elections, pointing to continuity, and that to the BJP and JDU setup. So 105 points higher on the Nifty. This is what we are baiting for. And more interestingly, Aabha, across sectors, there is now participation. There are fresh bullish crossovers happening in the IT space, oil and gas space. The NBFC space is already alive with gains. You see defense coming up with strength. And of course, a lot of activity that's happening in the realty space. So all put together, the entire market from the shade below large caps is now moving up and the breadth is becoming positive. So I am more than happy and we are looking forward to strong gains coming in on Dalal Street. Aabha.
Okay, so that's the setup as we're awaiting in terms of an uptick in the markets when we kick off. We've also got a whole host of stocks that have been in the news, of course. Let's take you through some of those. We've got okay, Shell, do you want to go first? Which are the ones on top of your list?
Okay, Aabha. BSE, very strong set of numbers. Tata Power is doing really well. BSE in particular, a very strong surge in profits as far as the company is concerned. You have a strong move likely to come into JB Chemicals and Pharmaceuticals, and Rail Vikas Nigam Limited is looking good. Aabha.
Okay, I mean, there's a whole host of earnings, of course. But newsmakers, Adani Group stocks, Adani Enterprises come out with a fundraise announcement, positive brokerage upgrade. They've also set the rights issue price at 1,800 rupees per share. So that's on Adani. We've got a whole host of capital market plays, broking in AMC stocks, particularly after strong results coming in from the BSE, and also robust SIP, flow data as well that's come in. So that's perhaps what's going to keep the capital markets segment in focus this morning. Now, Tata Group stocks, buzz around top-level appointments at Tata Trust. Those are the big headlines this morning. Could influence sentiment across group companies. We've also got Tata Motors in news on, of course, the CV listing. So that is something we're going to continue to track. And Tata Power, Q2 net income is down 0.9%. That's a miss on Tata Power numbers and that stocks, that's why taking a bit of a tick down. Tata Motors also will continue to track for you today. So interesting because we're already seeing some pressure coming in on some of the heavyweights across on earnings this time. So while we're seeing good numbers, Shell in certain pockets, we're also seeing some amount of tapering on growth or on outlook, across some of the heavyweights, across sectors. So it's a mixed bag.
Absolutely, Aabha, and let's get the best person to comment on this gap. We have Mr. Sharad Avasthi, Head of Research for the Private Client Group at Smith's Securities, joining us from the City of Joy, Kolkata. Namaste to you, Saraji, and a very warm welcome. A view that you would want to share with our viewers on earnings, quarterly earnings so far. What have been the green shoots? What do you like?
Namaskar. Thank you for having me on the show. I think the green shoot is one thing that you can take in common from most of the quarterly number commentaries is that the second half is probably going to be much better. Q3 consumption will be much better, and I think the macro seem to be suggesting, that even in sectors like IT, where we have had a lot of problems over the past, 3 to 6 months, there is high probability that we will see a lot of improvement happening there in terms of sentiment, and the large deal win should also convert. BFSI as a space should do very well over the next, 6 to 9 months. Similarly, even this thing, your highway, civil construction and highway construction, I think that is something that should get a boost. If you look at the capex done by most state governments, they are behind the curve. So the next 6 months should be very active. NHA road awarding should be very constructive over the next 6 to 9 months. So what I'm looking at is generally a very, hyper consumption, all round growth kind of situation. But I think the outperformers, could be the banking NBFC stories. Part of the rally has already played out. And IT could be a surprise package, which could be a good contraband to look at. And I think civil infra, which is particularly the road construction companies, they could be in a sweet spot over the next 6 to 9 months.
All right. In fact, private banks, IT, as Cher also mentioned, and Sharad, we're seeing renewed long positions by FI, so potential trend reversal coming in there. We've spoken about IT a lot, but private banks as well. So is the attention shifting away from PSUs, Cher, or you think it's going to be, spread across?
Abha, I think PSUs are very well represented by the defense pack. We've had a run up in the PSU banking sector. Now we'll be paying attention to HAL, BEL, BDL, as also the three shipbuilders. So PSUs are adequately representative via the change in sector from banks to defense. They are doing pretty well. And of course, we need to get Sharad's opinion on the NBFC space that's perked up beautifully. Sharadji, two picks that you would want our viewers to take a view on as far as the NBFC space is concerned. One from the large cap space and one from the mid cap space. Bajaj, of course, reacted very, very negatively to its earnings. A view on Bajaj too.
I don't. I think from the large cap space, I think largest beneficiary. I think Shriram is a good stock to bet on. Shriram Finance could be a good bet you could look at. I think the valuations are not very stretched. You are trading at what 2.2 times price to book. So I think that is something where you could have more uptick left. Because the rest of the pack, like the likes of electric finance, etc., have gone up very smartly. So that is one story. And within the small cap, mid cap, I think Ugro could be a very good bet to look at, small cap only. But I think that's a good bet. The management, we believe, is clean. And once the cycle turns with the MSME, microfinance lending, etc., I think Ugro could be a bet you could look at. So Shriram Finance and Ugro. And regarding Bajaj Finance, I think again the risk that is always with Bajaj Finance is the pricing to perfection over the last 4 or 5 years, the type of outperformance that we have seen with the company. Now, once the scale has reached a particular level, to replicate that is a bit of a challenge for them. And I think the initial, consumption boost kind of consumer sentiment, consumer loan kind of boost that they got, now to scale it up from that level is difficult because they have reached a certain level. So I think very little room for disappointment. Still, Bajaj Finance, etc., they trade at around 5, 6, 7 times price to book, leaving very little room for disappointment. So I think it's still risky at these prices. I would wait for a bit of a correction, where my margin of safety is better to get into Bajaj Finance.
Okay, so BSE, let's take a look. We were talking about capital market plays being in focus today. Good numbers coming in. Revenue up 44%, over 1,000 crores. Net profit also up 61% at 558 crores. Now, the stock has also risen about 71.6% in the last 12 months. Now, those are not so small numbers. Sharad, what are you making of this fantastic show?
No, I think BSE has been a star performer for quite some time now, and now most probably the NSE listing finally maybe is around the corner sometime. So I think till that time you can continue to hope, but in terms of valuation, I think what are we expecting? 50, 60 rupees next year, 50 rupees. I think FY27. So 60 times is roughly 3,000. The type of hyper the stock has, and with this overhang of weekly expiries, etc., not going anywhere. And I think the quarterly numbers are proof that the exchange has been able to maintain its growth momentum. And I think there is a lot of catch up that the exchange can do with NSE, because they have been lagging behind for quite some time, actually since NSE launched. So I think there is scope for improvement. But at current valuations, maybe if you are very optimistic, you could expect 3,000 kind of levels. But I would not be very aggressive now to buy into BSE.
So a gap up, ladies and gentlemen. The Nifty settled 140 points higher, the Bank Nifty 360 points higher, and the IT index 182 points higher. Aabha, this is what we've been prepping for the last 2 odd days. After that correction that took out 600, 700 points from the Nifty. So a climb on the way up has started, and it's driven by large caps, in particular Reliance, in particular Bharti, M&M. Let's get Sharadji into the conversation. Of these three stocks, Sharadji, which is the one which you are most hopeful on? Reliance, Bharti Airtel, and M&M.
I think of the three, I think Reliance certainly sits in a very sweet spot. Refining margins are going up. There is most probably, a Geo IPO coming sometime and maybe retail to follow up. And I think the renewable energy part could be a cog in the wheel. That is something, that could substantially bolster the valuation upside for them. I think finally more implementation on that side will be shown. So we are initially working with targets of 1700, 1750. Bharti and I think M&M seem to be fairly priced at these prices. I don't think there's much scope left there. And there is an ARPU catch-up that you can also play with Bharti. So I think our Reliance remains my preferred choice amongst these three for targets of around 1750.
Okay. What are you making of Biocon's earnings, Sharath? They've come back, into the green, but it's still a miss. Net income at 845 million versus a loss of 160 million. Net income up 3.4%, but it's a miss on estimates. Any take on Biocon?
Yeah, I think largely the quarterly miss was, in terms of our understanding, it's largely on the EBITDA margin side that's been a miss.
Okay.
But I think the type of product lineup that they have, and with this Vacres acquisition stabilizing, over the next 1.5 years, I think once this stabilizes and the debt overhang again reduces substantially, which the company has been working on post the Vacres acquisition, there is high probability that this can be re-rated very strongly. And now most probably the US, tariff issue is behind us. So I think the next 1.5 year, how the Vacres acquisition, we are very hopeful, and we are very hopeful about the fact that this acquisition integration will be very smooth. So I think the results could be very positive in the months to the years to come. Past track record has been a problem, but I think I would continue to recommend buying or even holding Biocon for initial targets of around 450, 460.
Okay, we're watching out for the opening there on your screen. And there you have it. What a nice green uptick. Shell, if I had a penny for every time you were right. But 0.5% up on the index. That's what we're looking at this morning. And it's looking good. If the bank also seeing a steady uptake, let's pull up IT. Let's pull up, there you go, 0.7% on IT. So definitely some long action building up there. Auto index today flat, but definitely action on banks, on IT. And Zomato is up 1%, Bajaj Finserv, Bajaj Finance, so recovery coming in there. Remember yesterday we did see the twins tumble. We've also got Asian Paints will be in focus. Let's just pull that up and see how it is. We're watching out for earnings on Asian Paints as well. And let's pull up Biocon, see where that is as well. Trent is just about muted today after yesterday's hammering. Tata Group stocks will be in focus as well. So let's pull up some of those. Tata Power, Tata Motors, see how we're looking at some of those Tata Group plays. BSE, let's pull that up and see if there's continued action this morning or not. Adani Enterprises on the rights issue announcement. Let's also pull that up for you and just see some immediate reactions. So BSE up almost 5-6%. We've been talking about that and the continuously strong, sustained uptrend it's been in. Adani Enterprises, definitely some amount of an uptick coming in this morning as well. And those are some of the big news makers. Biocon, should we just take a look at that and see how it's reacting to earnings? That's the other heavyweight from the pharma pack. A whole host of other earnings, of course, which we'll continue to track through the show. Anything standing out to you, Shell?
Absolutely, Aabha, a gap up, and more importantly, the Nifty is now well above its October close. So that's a very, very positive development as far as traders are concerned on the long side. 25,800 is back with the bulls. 200 points higher on the Nifty Bank, and it's a sea of green across Dalal Street as far as prices are concerned. A very strong opening tick on advanced decline. 1600 stocks in the green, just 700 in the red. So that's a wonderful gain. The IT index is doing phenomenally well, 1% higher. Third day of gains, all 10 stocks in the green. You've already marked BSE, so I won't repeat it. Top stock in terms of volume, 602 crores already traded. And in terms of all-time highs, Sharadji's favorite Shriram Finance, 0.5% higher. Fresh record high. You have a strong move coming into Ashok Leyland and M&M, and of course we can't be missing Muthoot Finance and Torrent Pharma. All good, Aabha, as far as Dalal Street is concerned. The Bihar election results in terms of exit polls have added strength to what bulls were hoping would be a fine week, and it's turning out to be that. Aabha.
Sharad, what's your view on M&M? Shell's been pointing out the move on the charts, but why M&M versus some of the others in the auto pack?
Yeah, I think M&M, we would consider it as fairly to fully valued. The initial, euphoria around 69 new launches was pretty high, but I think the real market reaction has not been as euphoric. But I think tractors, etc., have been doing well, and they should continue that way. But at these valuations, I think you have little scope unless and until some of the new launches, bolster into something else, like the success we've seen on a Thar, etc. But right now, we think that's not happening, and competition is also heating up. So within the four-wheeler space, I think our top pick remains Tata Motors.
All right, so Tata Motors. And in terms of the CV listing that we're tracking today, I just want to come in there with a follow-up. What's your view on how this will unlock value for the investor?
I think the passenger vehicle business hasn't really done much, which is very largely, due to that JLR issue, which is a prominent position in the whole number. But with the CV business, I think the SOTP that we are assigning right now is at a discount to what Ashok Leyland and others are getting. And I'm very hopeful, that that is the one that will drive growth substantially. I think the returns would be much better on the CV business for Tata Motors over the next 1.5, 2 years. And if that acquisition is also stabilized, I think that adds another feather to the cap. So I'm very bullish on the commercial vehicle business of Tata Motors. I think that should be a good value unlocking option, which should yield very good returns for the shareholders.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have the gap up. Now, the gap up, a bit of profit booking from all those smart guys that went into the market over the last 2 days on the long side. The front line is looking really good. Reliance contributing 24 points to Nifty, Bharti Airtel adding 13, Infosys adding 11. And Aabha, it's the energy space that's doing really well. Look at Oil India, look at how Reliance is moving. We've already marked that earlier. But HPCL, fresh record high, Power India, fresh record high, and a very strong move coming into ONGC, 1.7% higher, Oil India, 2.4% higher. What are you watching, Aabha?
I actually wanted to dive in a little further on what's happening in the oil and gas pocket. Shell, what's the commentary? What's coming in to drive this action? We've talked about Reliance a couple of days now. ONGC, it's really not, I think it's not earnings related, it's other news triggers. OIL today is up 2.5% as well. So maybe we can dive a little deeper into what's driving some of this.
That's for Sharad or me?
That's for you, Shell, first.
Okay, Aabha, the same story. The energy space is dominated by PSUs, and many of them are trading at very juicy valuations. PEs which are less than half of what is on the Nifty. So many of the PEs are in single digit. Look at ONGC, Oil India, HP, BP. That's the demand that is coming in from value buyers. Nobody wants to get into mids and smalls, and therefore it's a large cap show. And in the large cap show, the largest of PSU companies are in the energy space. This is what I think. Sharad would have a better view on why energy is ticking. Sharadji.
Yes.
No, I think for ONGC and Oil India, it is the new finds that are taking in, and I think the valuations are also very attractive. Both of them are trading at 7, 8, 9 times. I think if earnings stabilize around 40, and they get even uh, 10 times. I think for ONGC, we are working with targets of initially 400 rupees. The dividend yields are good. And I think even the utilities like NTPC, etc., they are also trading at decent valuations. And for Reliance, I think for some uptick, there is the refining margin that has gone up a bit on Singapore, etc. So I think that's another positive. And most probably the petchem cycle will also be much more favorable this quarter and next quarter vis-a-vis what is it has been for the last quarter. So I think all that is, fumbling up, combining up very well for the oil and gas space. And there are some PNGRP regulations that they're talking about. Maybe that goes through, though GAIL probably has objected to it. But if that goes through, maybe, IGL and GAIL would be surprise stocks that could rally from there.
Okay, I wonder if this has also something to do with the possible trade deal that Trump's been talking about. But the entire oil and gas pack is on a high today, and we don't see that every day. It's not one to move too much, so it's all up about 1% or so. We've got some healthcare stocks in focus too. Fortis, of course, had numbers out. We also got some news that India is considering a visa on arrival for medical travelers from countries like the US. That's according to Piyush Goyal. Healthcare, hospitals, these have also been in focus. Sharad, let me get a take from you on whether or not this is a segment that you'd look at currently. I mean, we've heard a lot of talks, whether it be about hotel or tourism related counters, and even healthcare and hospitals, sort of ancillary to realty. But would you see traction here?
Yeah, I think if you look at most of the hotel stocks, what you see is that there is a huge capex that most of these guys are doing, which should be spread over the next 2, 3 years. And this capex is material to their existing capacities. And in terms of bed occupancy, etc., everything has been going up very substantially. I don't think there is any slowdown there. The availability of beds per thousand is still very nascent. So I think, yeah, within the healthcare sector, if you split it between the diagnostic space and the hospital space, I think within the hospital space, if you're looking for aggressive growth, certainly Max Healthcare makes the cut. But all around, if I look at it, valuation comfort, the type of growth they can offer, and the type of work they're doing, and which is more prone to what India needs. I think Narayana Hrudayalaya is something that we are looking at very closely. I think that could be a good long-term bet that you can look at. And on the diagnostic side, I think Krishna Diagnostic is something that we have been bullish on for quite some time. I still believe that the type of diagnostic services that they are providing, that are cost effective, etc., have a lot of room to grow in a country like India. The front lines, I think maybe Thyrocare is something that has some valuation comfort. But rest of the diagnostics, I think unless and until some additional news flow happens, it's very difficult to justify these valuations. So on the diagnostic side, maybe Krishna Diagnostic or Thyrocare. And on the hospital side, if you're looking for high growth, high valuation, Max has a unique strategy of acquiring, that could be a good bet. And if you're looking for a margin of safety and a decent long term growth, I think Narayana Hrudayalaya should make the cut.
Aabha, I'd like to mark Kirloskar Engineering. This is 12% higher, not only amongst the top gainers on BSE, but also on the top traded. 138 crores traded as far as price is concerned, volume is concerned, but very, very strong set of numbers. 30% higher on sales, 1948 crores. Net profit surged 34% to 159 crores year on year. A view that you would have on Kirloskar Engineering, Sharadji, this is right up for you, deep value stock and from a very, very important industrial stable.
Yeah, I think even the long-term outlook that they have mentioned has been very favorable overnight. I think they are mentioning for 12 to 14% CAGR over next 3 years with product diversification and green transition. So I think for a company this size and a strong brand, if they continue to grow at a CAGR of 13-14% over the next 3 years, that gives you a lot of confidence. And that EV and hydrogen powered engine R&D expenditure of around 400 crore they're talking about. So I think that is something that perks the market. And I don't think valuations are very stretched in this case. I don't exactly remember. Yeah. Yeah, so
Okay.
looking at what 1 year forward of around 22, 23, I think that's a decent bet to have. I think most engineering or similar stocks which have such focus on RE, hydrogen, they trade at pretty high valuation. So I think it still has scope to improve from here, go up further from here. So I think I expect 50 rupee kind of earning next year to easily trade at 30, 35 times, so maybe somewhere around 1500.
Okay, loads of results impact. Let's pull up PI Industries for you. We can pull up Office, a lot of different reactions coming in. Orchid Pharma. Let's look at Finolex Cables. There's a whole host of stocks in the broader markets that are reacting on earnings specifically. So let's first pull some of those up for you. And overall, the index at this point of time is looking pretty good. We were actually seeing strong gains coming in, and the advanced decline ratio, as you mentioned, Shell, is extremely strong today. So that's again something to note. Market momentum seems very much intact, and IT is leading the way. Sharad, if I come to you on IT particularly, and today we even have some of the smaller IT counters moving, on earnings and otherwise. But if you had to sort of go long on something in IT at the moment, what would you choose?
I think among the front line, we would be very bullish on Infosys. I think at these valuations, it looks like a decent bet as more scenario clarity emerges for the next, 2, 3 months, and the quarterly results should be good because of the large order wins. I think that could be a good bet. In terms of improvement, we think Tech Mahindra could have a lot of surprise, down the line because of, the new management induction in the BFSI scale up. That could substantially play out. So Tech Mahindra could be one name on the front lines. We are betting on Infosys. Wipro has decent comfort at these valuations. I think high margin of safety, and there is a trigger on the data center side also. And on the smaller names, I think Birla Soft came up with a good set of numbers. So we think long term growth could be good. So that's a good story to bet on.
Okay. Aabha, you're absolutely right on the advanced decline side. Remember, the first time I marked, there were 1,600 shares in the green. Now, well, the rally is spreading. 1,876 shares in the green as far as markets are concerned. We tracked 19 indices for you. 18 of them are in the green, and the rally is led, as Sharaji and you are discussing, by the IT index, 1.2% higher. This is the third day of gains, and a very strong show coming in as far as the entire capital market space is concerned. Of course, enthused by BSE. More gains on BSE now, 6% higher, and now the entire sector is moving up. Look at how CAMS is reacting, up 4%. There's a very strong show that's coming on the entire railway pack and the PSU segment. So PSUs as well as capital market segment and energy are the leaders as far as prices are concerned. And how can we forget National Aluminium?
Yes, there's lots going on in the markets today, that's for sure. Let's also pull up some of those sugar stocks because we've got a whole host of them on earnings, of course. Balrampur, Bajaj Fin. Balrampur's net income is down a touch. We've got Bajaj Fin net income up about 7%. And we also had some news in the sugar space, so we had some buzz earlier this week. Is there anything striking out to you from the sugar pack, Sharad, or would you stay away for the moment? Better opportunities?
No, I think I would continue to stay away. I think while on the domestic side there has been some news which has been positive for sugar stocks over the last 2, 3 days. But internationally, I think we are looking at a supply side glut. So I think most probably supply should be much higher than demand. So if that is the case, I think it will be very hard for them. We are also talking about some revamp of the sugarcane prices that the government is looking at, based on the fact that now it is not purely sugarcane and now there's an ethanol mix that is driving earnings for them. So maybe even the raw material side pressure could come in. So I'm not very comfortable buying into sugar at these levels. I think it's better to avoid. There are much better ideas to bet on.
All right, Sharad, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Great chatting with you as always in detail on so many of those stocks and sectors. Let's also welcome in Gaurav Sharma, who's joining us on the show. Gaurav, thanks for being with us. Let me get your take first on the markets and a lot of action this morning. How's the setup looking to you?
Hi, morning Aabha, morning Shell, and to the viewers. So the market has opened with a gap up on the higher side, although some bit of profit taking is being witnessed. I think the market is heading towards filling the gap, today's gap, so a slide can extend towards 25,750. This gap up opening is the outcome of the NDA performance, as being pointed out by the exit poll so far, that Nitish Kumar is shining bright once again, and uh, leading its way towards a comfortable NDS victory here. So this is probably the outcome of this up move is the outcome of this particular projection by the various exit polls. Now, specifically talking about the markets here, good element of knickknacks and buying in some areas is being witnessed. IT is gaining pace from a large cap to the mid cap IT. They are performing well. Results are also coming in fine for these space. Metals is again gaining its shine and momentum. Sale for that matter, national aluminium and other base metal stocks are doing good. Exploration companies, NMDC, GMDCs are also on cards, and they will be gaining pace. Energy pack has performed well, and we continue to be bullish on that. Banking and finance space, I think a lot has been talked about it, and we continue to remain very much bullish. This particular pack is likely to perform and actually outperform markets the same way it has performed in the previous quarter.
Good morning to you, Gauravji, and a very warm welcome. Good to have you on a day where there is a deeper shade of green that is spreading across the Lal Street. Parag milk now booming, 3.6% higher, fresh record high. Actually, 14% higher at 360. That's doing extremely well. You have 63 moons, again a company related to capital markets, 5.5% higher. There is a very, very strong move that is coming into Kirloskar Engineering that we've already discussed, 12.5% higher now, 1064. Gauravji, what are the top 2 or 3 stocks positionally or fundamentally that you have been advising clients at Globe Capital?
Off late, we came out with our Diwali recommendation, which had some of the combination of PSU banking stocks like the Bank of Maharashtra. We recommended Mahindra and Mahindra in that. Titan was a part of it, and some other picks. So they remain part of our long-term investment bets. Apart from that, we are very much bullish on stocks like Hero Motor Corp, Canara Bank, State Bank of India from the PSU banking space. Bajaj Finance recently witnessed a good amount of profit taking in its previous trading session. That was the outcome of its numbers and the commentary, management commentary, wherein a 1 to 2% cut in its upcoming revenues they have posted. I don't see a much of a meaningful impact, at least on the downside coming in on this stock. So we have suggested our clients to start accumulating this stock, adding up this stock if at all they have missed it. So I think these are some areas we are specifically concentrating at.
All right. Okay, a couple of running reactions to our Torrent Power is actually seeing a bit of a knock on earnings, even though it's a good set of earnings, but the stock is down this morning. We got some of those finance stocks, which otherwise, of course, are a favorite for everyone, but seeing a little bit of a knockoff today. We've been talking a lot about IT. We've been talking a lot about private banks and some amount of a renewed build-up on some of these pockets. Gaurav, want to get a sense from you on, given the kind of momentum we're seeing this morning, where you feel the market will be headed or the next wave will come from?
I think in the next wave, or when the Nifty surpasses its recent peak, first of all, banking and finance pack will continue and will lead it upwards. Metal is one pack that is likely to perform. When the Chinese economy strengthens again, this pack will gain momentum. Energy pack was a clear surprise. and the kind of performance the energy pack has done, I think they will subside in some time, and others will take pace. We cannot let go of the IT momentum. This is a contra bet, and I personally believe that these are the times we can start accumulating, adding quality IT companies. From the large cap, it is TCS and Infi, of course. From the mid cap space, we remain bullish on stocks like Emphasis, Coforge, and Persistent. So these spaces can be added, and they will actually lead the way towards the next round of move.
Abha, I think it's a day for PSU stocks, especially in the segment that we've been very fond of. Chota packet, which is low price, but Bada Dhamaka, which is high beta. Therefore, look at BHEL, now 286. It's just taking it away. Look at Ireda. It's now coming back into action. HUDCO is doing very well. And of course, you have GSFC 3.5%, 5.5% higher. ITI from the telecom space. Fertilizers looking good. RCF fact. You have ONGC that we've already discussed. And of course, we are talking about Engineers India, PFC, Petronet. We track 88 PSU companies, ladies and gentlemen. A vast majority. More than 70 are in the green. Aabha.
Yes, it clearly is a morning for PSUs. Lots of action brewing there. Gaurav, we've been talking a lot about valuations and really whether or not the market's hunting for value at this point of time. Would you agree? Because clearly there's some shift taking place and the market's looking for fresh opportunities with a lot of other segments which are still great companies looking extremely expensive right now.
See, at the start of the year, I think the word expensive was very much close to where Indian markets were lying. And I think that is one of the reasons we saw a consistent sell-off from FIIs. They have shifted from sold off from our market and bought elsewhere, or maybe US treasuries. But as of now, when we speak, a lot has changed. A lot of value is there. And, when we talk about cheap valuations and value creation, I think we just cannot leave and ignore PSU banks. They are a life story. Now they are coming into picture very clearly and loudly. PSE, the public sector enterprises that Shale has been, acknowledging today, they are also, places where the valuations have remained low from quite some time, and a steep bounce back is what we are seeing, not specifically today, rather off late. The companies like defense, the companies like railways, they were lying low from many years now, and they are gaining in pace now. So valuation plays a very important role, but I think it is timing that matters the most.
All right, so Gandha Sachdev also joining us this morning. Let's take a quick check on gold and silver because we're seeing action come back into those precious metals. So Gandha, good morning. A nice 9% move on silver, gold also 5%. Are we going to see a build-up of momentum here once again?
Good morning, Aabha. Yes, we are expecting some more upside. As we spoke last week, prices had established a strong base at lower levels, specifically talking about gold, wherein we have seen that prices have soared to a 3-week high. That's majorly driven by the softness in dollar index, and we have seen prices had established a strong base at levels of around 1,18,000 mark. And if I talk about the international markets, 3880 acted as a very strong support area, from wherein we have seen a resumption in buying interest. The major reason has been there has been data deluge just because of the US government shutdown, which has turned out to be the longest shutdown in the history. It has continued for the 42nd day. However, the Senate has recently passed a stopgap funding bill, which will fund the government until January 30th, 2026. So after that, a lot of data will be released. And there are expectations in the market that the data is likely to come out on the weaker side. And that has pushed up the expectations for another rate cut by the US Fed in their December meeting. Even as the US Fed chair in its recent October meeting had hinted that there are not likely to be further rate cuts for this year, but then this longest government shutdown has raised these hopes that because of this weakness in the US economy, there could be another rate cut. And this is buoying gold prices as well as silver prices. In terms of silver prices also, we have seen that prices have formed a very strong base at levels of around 1,41,000 mark, and from there on itself, Aabha, we last spoke about 1,55,000 odd levels, and we are already standing at those levels. We see this rally continuing further as well, but then 1,60,000, 1,61,000 is the level that we are looking at for the near term. We do not foresee prices moving beyond that level in the near term.
All right, so that's the outlook coming in. So the strategy then right now you would say is just wait and watch, Sugandha?
No, Aabha, for short-term traders, it's still a buy for gold and silver both. For gold, we are looking at levels of around 1,28,000 in the near term. But then as the US economy will reopen, there will be a lot of optimism in the market, and we will be looking at a lot of economic data also. Further, the trade tensions between US and China have also come down, so that is also not likely to favor gold and silver for a very long-term perspective. So in the medium term, we again see some correction setting in prices. Probably end of November, we are again likely to see a lot of selling pressure coming in from higher levels. So as we see right now, there is short-term buying opportunity, but then trend-wise, we are again likely to see correction that we have seen from the recent highs. So Aabha, we have already seen correction of around 10% in gold, and in silver also prices had corrected by almost 18%. So this corrective rally will again continue. And if I talk about the downside levels, 1,18,000 remains a very strong floor for gold. In case that is breached, we are even eyeing levels of around 1,14,000 to 1,09,000. And for silver, if I talk about the downside levels, so as long as 1,41,000 holds, we are still on the buy side. But yes, one can look for sell on rise strategy around 1,61,000. And once the level of 1,41,000 is breached on the downside, 1,30,000 is the level that we are looking at. So just to put it in a crux and in a nutshell, short-term buying opportunities, but then on higher levels, we are again likely to see selling pressure coming in both the precious metals. So one has to look at the dollar index movement. As of now, it has stayed on the soft side, and we have seen some rejection from 100.5 odd levels. But yes, once 100.50 odd levels are breached, we are even looking at levels of around 102.50 odd levels, and that is likely to suppress gold and silver prices on the higher side. And in case the Fed maintains a hawkish stance, we are looking at a lot of Fed chairs speeches and the comments from various Fed officials. In case those come on the hawkish side, that would also be another catalyst which is going to drive gold and silver prices on the lower incline. So short term, yes, it's a buy trade, but yes, at higher levels, we again maintain a bearish view. We are likely to see selling pressure.
All right, thanks for joining us, Sugandha. Okay, let's take a look at what else is happening in the markets. We've talked about OMCs, we've talked about IT, we've talked about a whole host of other pockets. Shell, in terms of the broader markets, anything you want to point out? Last few questions to Gaurav.
Yeah, but I think there is again a trigger on the long side that has come in, Aabha, on the PSU banking segment. The entire PSU sector is up aflame with gains. Bank of India 1.4% higher. Canara Bank doing a 2% uptick at 143. This is a fresh 52-week high. And I'm requesting if the PCR can draw the chart of ITBs. This is Nippon India IT Index ETF, which we better call as ITBs. Aabha, you would remember 1 month ago I had pointed out that this should be a part of the long-term portfolio. The ITBs at that point of time were at 33 rupees, and now they are at 40. So India Today and Business Today specialize in buying pain and buying pain in quality assets. 7 over 33 is 30-35% return in less than a month, Aabha.
All right, Gaurav, anything else looking exciting to you from the broader markets and post earnings in particular? We've had a whole host of auto, we've had mid-cap IT, sugar, chemicals. What's looking good to you?
Attractive at these levels. I think these are the price points that one actually looks at falling in such quality large cap names. Shell has already pointed out IT names, and I too remain very much bullish on these. We actually, every time there is a general talk in the market that we should look at quality stock hunting, and when we saw a quality stock hunting, stocks like TCS, HCL Tech, Infosys tumbling 25, 30, 40% from their recent tops, we were shying away. I think that was the time when it is to accumulate. Still, a stock like TCS is trading well below 3100 mark. Just a couple of months back, these stocks were trading at 4500 plus levels, and people were still interested in buying at those levels. So why can't we take a long call here? At a corrected price of nearly 30 odd percentage points, keeping a view of 1.5, 2 years. I think these companies can come up with phenomenal numbers and surprise the investors with the returns.
All right, Gaurav, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Good to have you with us. And we've got a fantastic listing coming in. Let's pull it up for you. We've got Groww listing at a 14% premium at 114 versus 100. So fantastic listing coming in. Remember, Paisa Bazaar, Lenskart has had a very weak listing or post-listing action, whereas Groww on listing day is seeing a fantastic move upwards. Again, capital market play, Shell, and that's what we're talking this morning. Like if we bring up the star of the show again, BSE this morning is again seeing a 5-6% jump. There you go, 6%, has seen fantastic move, consistently high growth, and capital market plays in focus. A good day, I guess, for the listing.
Absolutely, Aabha. As I had mentioned, it pays to be extremely bullish on India. Nobody has ever made any kind of money by going short. Yes, you can do it in the short term, but long term, you have to be really bullish, and the entire capital market space buzzing with gains. I think yesterday you were mentioning in the beginning of the show during the week that this week we have 7 IPOs coming in. So the IPO pipeline is thick, and therefore the capital market space is buzzing with gains. Look at CDSL, look at CAMS, Angel One, MCX, BSC of course leading the rally. So it's a win-win for all market participants, Aabha.
All right, that's the action then this morning. We'll leave it there. I know Shell has a whole other list of stocks to go through, given the kind of momentum we're seeing today. Whether it's Bihar, whether it's Trump, whether it's a mix of everything. Probably a little bit more of Bihar this morning. It's definitely looking good. There's cheer on the street and a steady uptake, 157 points now, 25852. Looks like we're going to hit 26,000 like before we know it. Here we were pacing ourselves, 7-10 days of sideways trade, and suddenly it looks like we're back there, right, Shell?
Absolutely, Aabha. As I have been telling you for quite a while, we are headed towards a record high. Actually, this time the participation from the large cap space is phenomenal, and nobody is interested in smalls and mids. Therefore, you see, Bharti Airtel hitting a record high, M&M. Look at how Reliance is moving. Look at how State Bank of India is gaining momentum. So it's this large cap rally that's taking us up, and if large caps are doing phenomenally well, Nifty is a byproduct of large caps. Therefore, a record high on the cards. Let's hope in November, and data will prove us right that if you buy the pain, you are going to gain. Aabha.
All right, we'll leave it there this morning. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned. Lots more coming up.